Quick February recap. Humane released a lot of content last month where we got to learn a lot more about the AI pin, and we also went to the Mobile World Congress where real people got to interact with the AI pin for the very first time. Let's start with the good. Starting with the founders, Bethany and Imran, winning a bunch of awards for the AI pin at the Mobile World Congress. The Shortcut, which is an online tech website, also released a review about the AI pin where they were impressed about how it can record videos in a pinch, which is good news. We also saw a few videos on Twitter where Humane released people either running with the AI pin or skiing with the AI pin. This dude captured his skiing footage with the AI pin and honestly looks pretty awesome. It seems to be handling rough situations really well, which speaks a lot about the magnet strength. There's also footage of this guy who went on a jog with the AI pin strapped to his shirt. The shirt looks pretty thin, and the fact that the AI pin seems to be sticking to the shirt pretty well and he's able to go on a run probably is pretty good. Although the footage cuts shortly after, I wish I kind of saw how it was pulling on the fabric. I think a lot of people are concerned about how it can pull on your shirt and maybe loosen that area a little, which would damage the fabric of your t-shirt. But we also saw other real life demos like Daniel Gobera, who released a footage of him being at a soccer game where he was wondering about a soccer player on the pitch, so he just clicked on the pin and asked the question and got a response directly.
Who is number 10 in the San Jose Earthquakes team?
It triggered the thought in my head that you might be drinking at the game, or you might be really focusing into the game and you don't want to really be pulling out your phone, seeing maybe some Slack notifications from work. So just clicking on the AI pin and getting a response directly doesn't pull you out of the experience of enjoying the game. You can just enjoy living in the present while being able to interact with the internet, which kind of proves the point of Humane. The founders also interviewed with India Today, where they discussed about how people like to keep their hardware for a longer period of time, so they design their OS, Cosmos, to be able to handle software updates over the cloud, rather than them constantly needing to update their hardware over time.
So it's not like one of those products where you have to wait a yearly cycle to update. We can actually push upgrades to the device, and whenever something new is ready, a new feature comes on, we can just push it to the devices immediately. And it feels pretty great to have that in mind. But we're thinking a lot.
You wake up and you're pinned to something new, which I think is what we expect now from software and hardware. We also know that people want to keep it for a longer time. So we needed to build an OS that would allow us to just constantly be making it better.
To me, this news is kind of a double-edged sword because you might not be seeing a Humane AI Pin 2 in the near future. So spending $6.99 or whatever the cost of this device is, and knowing that you'll be using this device for a long period of time and it's going to just receive updates to keep getting better, is kind of a good news. However, I don't really know whether that bet is going to age well, considering that there is a lot of development happening currently in the space that they operate in. So having a device that's relying on getting updated over time might be considered as an investment? Question mark. There's also this video from Anders Madsen on Twitter where he's asking the AI pin for instructions on how to do call forwarding from the iPhone to the pin directly. And to me, that's really awesome that you can just ask the pin directly on how to do things that you're trying to achieve.
How would I forward calls from my iPhone to my AI pin?
Finding call forwarding instructions. To forward calls from your iPhone to your AI pin, go to the Settings app, tap on Phone.
In my Ogg browser video a few weeks ago, I did complain about the fact that I didn't know how to do certain things with the Ogg browser. So I wanted to ask the browser questions so that it could answer to me directly about what that browser can do for me. So seeing that the AI pin already has this feature built into itself where it can respond to you and communicate with you in natural language to tell you how the device works and what its limitations are is an awesome news. There's also a video from Drew Carson on Twitter where he shows that you can preview the footage that you've shot from the AI pin directly with the laser ink display on the palm of your hands. That sounds sick in practice because we don't really know what it's going to be capturing, so in case you don't want to get a double take, it gives you a reference point. Even though you might not be getting a full depth idea in terms of the image or the video that you're capturing with that preview, it kind of gives you a second opportunity in case you want to reframe your picture or take a better picture. So that's great. Okay, now onto the bad things that we've heard about the AI pin so far. Number one is that The Verge reported that the device kept shutting down during the demo at the conference. The employee demoing claimed that it was overheating because of the continued use of the laser for demonstration purposes, and that it usually doesn't do that. That was a little concerning. I went back to watching the previews of images and watching the previews of the pictures that you're capturing from the AI pin. And if I'm watching something for too long, maybe the AI pin might be overheating from that laser ink display. And we don't really know yet how long people are going to be using these laser ink displays for, whether they're only going to be communicating their voice or they're going to be using that display for a long extended period of time. So reading that wasn't really reassuring, because the founder is expecting this device to get better only by getting updates over the air. They're not expecting any hardware upgrades, any AI pin 2 in the near future either. So if this overheating issue becomes a problem, are we going to have a AI pin gate at some point, a heat gate with the AI pin? If the overheating becomes a problem for most customers of the AI pin, then maybe the founders might need to go back on their whole promise about the AI pin not having a second version coming out anytime soon. A hardware upgrade might be necessary, which might be a problem for their plans. The Verge also claims that even though the laser ink display is readable, it's not as good to read from it as it is from your mobile phone display, which makes a lot of sense. It's simply going to be a projection on the palm of your hand, and if your palm is cusped like this, the projection might be a little bit more distorted and the light might not be able to focus in time. And most of the footage that we've seen online already seems that the brightness of it just kind of takes time for your eyes to adjust to it, which seems normal. And comparing it to the mobile phone display might be a little bit of an unfair comparison just because the OLED display has been developing for over 10 years now. So if you really care about your AI pin and if you really care about using it, I don't think the readability of it might be that big of an issue unless you have problems with your vision. So I was also looking at some of the interactions of how people play around with the menu system on the AI pin, and that's the part that I'm least excited about. It looks a little bit clunky, the motion, it doesn't look too natural to me. Like, look at how Sam Sheffer is putting his pin on his AI pin after he just turned it on. This cannot be a real life use case. Imagine you just put your AI pin on the train and someone is looking forward to robbing you and they just are sitting next to you while you're putting your pin. This just becomes so easy for them to not only learn about your pin, but also wait for you at your next stop, rob you, and take the AI pin, unlock it, get access to all of your information, etc. 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 I don't think that was really well thought of, in my opinion. And people on Twitter also don't seem to be convinced by the way you put your pin on the AI pin. John G says, not exactly a seamless experience. Jeremy Dung says, seems quite observable in a public setting. But don't get me wrong, other people are giving it a lot of love in this thread. So what do you think about the AI pin so far from the news that we've learned? It's coming out this month for priority users and it's coming next month for every other orders. So just expect to have a bunch of videos on the internet about the AI pin very soon. Okay, that's it for Humane. This is still a February recap. I'm going to be talking about the Arc browser. If you don't care about the Arc browser, feel free to just click away, but this is the Arc browser portion. Alright, full disclaimer, I'm a full-time user of the Arc browser now, and I have a love-hate relationship with that product. It's both on my personal laptop and my work laptop, but I don't seem to be making it fit into my workflow even after 1 month of using it. But I still have kept it as my default browser on both laptops, because 1% of me kind of wants it to be better. The browser just crashes so often, and I find myself to be closing the browser by mistake so many times. The picture-in-picture view is just, the user experience is not consistent at all throughout the entire product. I'll be very honest about that. Compared to other browsers like Google Chrome, Safari, where I remember being a teenager and finding out about the internet and learning about it, and getting comfortable with the usability of it, I don't seem to be finding instinctively how things work on the Arc browser. It's just really painful. We also released new sticker logos if you refer the product to a bunch of people, so you can change the icon on your laptop. And it's pretty enticing to change the icon to make it look better on my computer, but referring this product to people is a really tough job for me. But I do see people bragging that they are power users of the Arc browser on Twitter, so maybe it's a me problem at this point. However, I stick to what I said from my last video about the Arc browser, that Arc Search on the iPhone is by far the best browser that I've used in my life, period. It's a game changer, it saves you time, and it's just overall fantastic. I haven't had to go through any ads. I haven't had to sit through any BS whatsoever that's on the internet. I just click on browse for me and I get a compiled page of information, and I just have to look at it for a few seconds, understand the context, and move on with my day. Life has been so much simpler with the browse for me feature, honestly. And in my Arc browser video, I did talk about them releasing features every 2 weeks. And since my video, they did release a few more features, like the pinch to summarize feature. I haven't really gotten any good opportunities to use the pinch to summarize feature, but I'll try to put it in my workflow at some point. The browse for me feature is too much of a killer feature for me to focus on anything else, honestly. So since the release of Arc Search on the mobile phone, Arc has grown by 512,000 users organically, which is amazing. However, people on the internet are kind of considering the ethicality of scraping the internet to summarize data for people. At LearnActRepeat on Twitter says, the best content creators need to have an incentive to create high quality content and share it for free. Typically, the incentive is building an audience, showing ads, or credibility. When the content is being ripped directly from my site and shown in a third-party chat interface, the creator's incentive vanishes. And this person is not the only person thinking about this. Engadget also wrote an article about it. Who makes money when AI reads the internet for us? Basically, they're going in to criticize the Arc browser's browse for me feature and the summarization feature. I've also seen a thread on Arc browser's subreddit where they were talking about the backlash of the browse for me feature. Some people speculate that the internet will figure itself out, that the ad business model has always been outdated, and that it was time for the internet to just move past that broken business model. I'm thinking about bringing Web3 back with this whole issue. If you're worried about getting compensated by an AI scraping your website, tokenization might become a good feature in this space where you tokenize your web page, and every time your web page gets hit, you have to pay a token before that information from your web page gets to the browse for me feature. I'm just saying things at this point. It's just an idea in my head. I haven't really thought it through, but it kind of sounds like an idea that Web3 would be working on, I think. Yeah, I haven't thought this through. It's okay. But the bottom line is that the current way that the internet is built and the current way that website builders and website hosters expect to get paid is kind of a broken system. It's definitely unsustainable, and slapping ads on websites have killed already so many websites and have ruined the experience of already so many things on the internet, like recipe websites, for example. When's the last time you actually Googled a recipe and you got a decent website that summarized things for you cleanly without giving you the mom's entire life history just so that you would be able to scroll past certain ads before you reach to the recipe? So if it takes AI and if it takes the Arc browser to break this business model and to reinvent how we interact with the internet and to reinvent how people are getting paid on the internet, then now is the time more than ever. Anyway, let me know what you think about the Arc browser as well. Let me know if you have started using the Arc browser. Let me know if you love it. Let me know if you hate my opinion on it. While you're typing your response, I'll say goodbye for now. I'll see you next week.